Hey friends, it's Pastor Michael here with my better half. Our hope is that you'll find laughter, joy, and inspiration through some of our zany family stories. And we're recording. There it is. How long has it been since we've been together to record an episode?
It's been a while.
It's been a long while.
It's definitely been more than a month.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Probably 2 months.
Yeah. Well, but of course, that's because life never slows down when you have 3 kids at home, especially in the summer months.
And a husband that goes to bed at 8 o'clock.
All right. It is 9:22 right now. So
everybody give him a round of applause.
Yeah, 9:22, not a.m., p.m., and I am still upright and functioning. Normally, like at this point, I'd probably be digging through the cupboards in the kitchen because I've already had like most of a nap from 8 to 9:20. Is a fair nap, and then I get up and eat and go back to bed. Anyhow, oh, technology. We're going to talk about technology.
Okay.
So we'll talk about our technology use and then technology for the kids, like what we allow the kids to have and whatnot. I live in a world of technology all day long. We're app related for everything business. And somebody said to me just recently that they have never seen a church as automated as our church is.
Ain't that the church?
Practically get tased when you walk through the door because of all of the automations. Let's see. So let's, in the church real quick, some of the things that I have automated. We have an Alexa in the lobby that kicks on Sunday morning at 6 a.m. and it plays a praise and worship playlist. It comes on Wednesday night at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It comes on Thursday, and it comes on Saturday morning. All just so that there's atmosphere in the lobby when people come in. Most of the switches in the church are now smart switches, so that the lights will come on and off as they're supposed to. They'll shut off after a room's been vacant for so long. All of the lights, the exterior lighting on the building is automated so that it comes on and off when it's supposed to. What else have we? Oh, almost all of our space heaters, because we have the way our building is set up, the HVAC in that building is terrible. It's all cinder blocks, so some rooms just stay cold all the time, even with the heat running. So now we have smart heaters. All of the thermostats are programmable, like smart programmable thermostats. We can turn them on and off from our phone. The sprinkler, that's a good one. I forgot about that one.
Ooh, water shut off.
The water shut off, the automatic water shut off. But all of those things came out of...
Doors, you have to...
Yes, the doors. Well, those aren't automated, though. Those are just deterrent for kids going outside doors that they shouldn't and opening stuff they shouldn't. But all of that stuff came out of a season of expenses, because when we had the water shut off put in, as an automatic water shut off, and anybody who's experiencing this should buy one because it's genius. We were getting $700-800 water bills from the water department, and we couldn't figure out why. And they kept telling us, "Oh, you must have a toilet leaking." I'm like, there's no way we're using 40,000 gallons worth of water in a month because of a toilet. Turned out they were right. It was 2 separate toilets, but they were running pretty well nonstop. So we put the shut off in. We were able to isolate it, determine where it was, got that all fixed. And now the water is, for the most part, doesn't give us any problems. We water all the flower beds with automatic sprinklers.
Yep.
All set up on a smart water. You laugh, but listen. Nobody goes to the church and water, so we plant all these beautiful flowers, and then they're dead in a week because they've just wilted away to nothing. Bake in the sun. And even here at home, our entire basement is automated.
I was going to say, he's got his car set to a certain time. It turns on. Like,
don't.
He doesn't have to lift a finger. He ain't going to do it.
Don't be in the basement past 10 p.m. because all the lights shut off. Everything in the basement turns off at 10 p.m.
The lights outside shut off.
Yep, all of the lights at the house are automated. For me, it makes sense because then we don't have it's set it and forget it. Like, we're busy people. So I swear by Casa light switches. So they're smart switches. They have dimmer switches, but the app is so user friendly, and you can tell it you can set a rule that every night at 10 o'clock all the lights shut off, or at this time they come on. They make outlets. That's genius. So everybody should look those up. Casa. It's by TP.
You want to reach out to them and
See if we can get a sponsor.
sponsorship.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, I spend enough money with them. Like, they should sponsor us. And one light switch is like $30. They're not cheap. But at the end of the day, you ain't running up your light bill.
You don't have to turn off your own light.
Yeah, you can walk by it and know it's going to shut itself off. What else do we have automated here? That's really probably it.
There's not too much.
Yeah, the outside lights and then the lights in the basement. And again, a lot of the lights in the basement are because they would never get shut off otherwise. They'd be on all the time. The office, the homeschool room, the family room, the laundry room, everything would just be on all the time.
Yeah, that's the one I can get behind.
Yeah. And just 10 o'clock is a reasonable time because typically we're not down here past that time. So they just shut off, and then there are some days we're not down here at all. So they might go 4 or 5 days where they would be on before but not being used. So that's helpful. But as far as technology goes for my day job, I mean, everything that we do is on an app. Our housekeeping is on an app. Our maintenance is on an app. Our door locks are on an app. I mean, obviously our reservation system's on an app.
Yeah.
So I've got my phone with me 24/7.
Yep.
We've got noise detectors in some of the units. So if there's a party going on, we get alerted. If too many people have connected to the Wi-Fi, we get alerted. Like, there are a lot of fail safes. And I think some of my like incessant need to fix some of those automations at the church come from my day job, because you look at things, you're like, oh man, that's a real problem. We should find a way to fix that. And then we fix it, and I'm like, ooh, imagine where else we could use this. But that's just technology in our lives. But what about with the kids? We're pretty particular about technology with the kids too.
Yeah, I have screen time limits, and we have specific screen time. Like, they can watch a TV show in the morning, like to wake up.
Yes.
So,
imagine what Saturday morning cartoons used to be for us. They're allowed to get up in the morning, and they each get to watch one show.
Yeah.
And then when their show is over, it's hand off the remote. The next kid watches a show, and we do that till they're all done, and then the TV is off.
Yes. And
let's be honest, that's really more so you can consume your coffee in peace.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone, and I like to wake up slow. They wake up slow. It's just nice.
No, they don't wake up slow. Sissy hits the ground at a 10, and Easton hits the ground at about a 9.
Yeah.
Emmett, he meanders. He could lay in his bed for a little bit, but the rest of them, they're up.
And then they have tablets and switches. They're allowed to play after dinner.
And only until 8 or 8:30.
Yeah, and then it shuts off at 8. Yeah.
So
it's a little bit later on the weekends, but they shut off at 8. So if we don't eat dinner till 6:30, they get an hour and a half. If we don't eat dinner till 7, they get an hour, and that's just.
And they know if we eat dinner at 7:30 that they're
only
not
getting a half hour,
and they don't like that.
Yeah.
But we don't do that because we don't want them to play their tablets. We do it because we know we have to regulate that because of what it can do to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was reading somewhere that, and I'm not saying this is exactly true, but I'm going to give you the Michael version of what I read, like the way that I interpreted it, that giving a kid a tablet unbridled is like doing drugs. It's like crack, because it creates a dopamine, that dopamine kick that like it's exciting to have that. And so, and I'm beyond rescue at this point. Like, my phone is in my hand all the time. I'm texting, emailing, fixing something. I'm always doing something on my phone, playing a game even. We don't want that for our kids. We want them to be able to socialize without having to have technology.
Yes.
And so limiting that screen time, they can learn to live without having a tablet all the time.
Because if they had a choice, if I just let them play their tablets whenever they wanted, that's all. I mean, eventually they'd get bored, but like some of them would not ever get bored, and they would just keep playing. And I don't want my kids living life like, when you think about all of the things that they do instead of their tablets, like that they would miss out on. I remember reading something. It said the way kids use technology these days, it says, imagine all of the artists who will never be artists because they don't pick up a pen and paper, or all of the basketball stars who never go out and pick up a basketball because they were just on their tablets. And really makes you think.
Yeah. And we keep our kids busy too. So, and not by force. It's not like we're giving them chores to do, but we send them outside to play. So they're doing, what is it, 1,000 hours outside?
Yes.
So it's a challenge for them to see if they can do 1,000 hours outside.
Yes.
And they all go outside and play for multiple hours a day. And sometimes they're bored outside, but it's okay to be bored because that's part of life. As an adult, there are going to be times when you're bored.
And it sparks creativity.
Yeah. And so, well, and sometimes I don't love that, but it is true.
Yeah.
Because there's buckets of mud left in the driveway for days because they have sparked creativity. Or Easton has a fort built for roly-poly bugs that he's carrying them around in a baggie.
It was nicer at our old house when it was kind of like wooded area.
Yes,
because they did that same thing, but it was not like, I don't know, I feel like now we live in town, but the outside needs to at least look a little presentable.
Yes, exactly. It drives me nuts because there's always junk laying in our carport. I'm like, well, we have 5 kids in the house. Yeah. So by the time you've put our bikes away and the scooters and all of the, like, the basketball and all that stuff, I mean, it is what it is. There ain't no hiding it. Yeah. So they weren't, none of the kids were allowed to have a Switch until they were 7. So like Emmett got his when he turned 7, but he got his when it was 6.
Yeah.
But they weren't allowed to have Fortnite until they were 7. Yeah. And Easton still does not have Fortnite.
Yeah.
Because we just don't feel like he is at an age where he can understand. Fortnite, while it is not a gory shooting game, the idea is to be the last man standing, basically, and you build stuff and you try to kill the other people around you. And it's not, again, not bloody or not gory, but we don't think that Easton's in a place emotionally where he can handle losing that game without having a fit. And so just there's no reason to give it to him because we know the repercussions of that. Either a broken Switch or a screaming child.
Yeah.
Either way, not something I want to be dealing with. Emmett regulates himself pretty well, so he can play. Yeah. And he likes to play with Aiden. And so they'll play together. And even he'll play Pokemon with Aaron. But they'll wear their headsets and play remotely, which is super cool that they get to do that. But even iPad games, all of their iPads are quote unquote locked. If they want a game, they have to get approval to get it. The only caveat to that is if they had it once, they can always re-download it from the cloud without approval, which is okay because usually we've seen the game and we know what they're able to download. They all have parental controls. If they like Messenger Kids, if they send a message that is deemed inappropriate, it will flag it and send it to me. It will also notify me if they block somebody, if they unblock somebody. So there's like constant notifications as to what it is that they're doing. Easton one time reported a message that I sent to him.
I saw that the other day.
I was like, he's going to get me like kicked off a Messenger. And it was a picture of something. What was it?
I can't remember, but I saw it.
Freaking reported me for it. I was like, you little punk. But that's him. And that's why we know he's not emotionally ready for bigger electronics because he will, when he's mad at somebody, he'll block them on Messenger. And then he'll unblock them 2 days later. Yeah. But like Dylan got blocked the other day. I don't know why, but Dylan got blocked the other day. So we know that he's not quite ready for any additional electronics. But Sissy, she watches the dumbest videos, but that's pretty much all she does. That and what is it, Tokaboka World.
Yeah.
She builds houses and her decorates houses and things like that, which she loves. But again, our kids, all 3 play piano. Not well. They're taking lessons, but they are actively in piano lessons. All 3 of our kids are in some sort of physical activity. Sissy does gymnastics and dance. Emmett does soccer and basketball, and Easton does flag football and soccer and basketball. So the expectation is that like the tablet is not always in your hand.
Yeah.
We don't give them our phones to play on. That's not a thing.
Never has been.
Nope. And they know not to even ask us for it.
Right. Yeah, it's never been. And that's what also, if you find yourself in a position to want to limit screen time or just have boundaries around it. The reason we do after dinner is because it's a set time.
It's consistent.
It's after dinner. It's not 6 o'clock. It's not whatever. It's just after dinner because and this has been for many years. So like when they were too young to know time or anything, it was just once you were done with dinner, then you could have your tablet, and then it shuts off automatically. And so because I got annoyed with the
Can we have our tablet?
yes, can we have our tablets a million times a day? And so it just solidified. And I was like, don't ask me because this is when you get it now. And they were cool with that. Like, it was fine. They'll occasionally ask, like, if it's an extra boring day or if it's rain, can we play our tablets? And sometimes they do.
I was going to say.
There is sometimes they can get them during the day. But it's never like an all day or a.
Yeah, it's never just whenever you want.
Yeah.
The other thing too is we learned another little trick is that so some of their learning stuff, because they're homeschooled, we get apps where they can do, like, Easton knows his states. He can look at a map and tell you every single state on the map based on its shape, because he plays
Stack the States.
Stack the States.
Yes.
So it's an educational game, but it's teaching him something. He loves it.
Yeah, loves to play it.
Loves to play it. And so I think that we have learned that is kind of a ace in the hole too.
Yeah.
Where during the day, if you want your tablet, that's fine, but you have to play educational games.
Educational games, which, like I said, they like it. So
yeah,
that's not the first thing they would pick in the evening. So it kind of works out if they get their tablets and they're also learning.
Yeah, and we don't. When we say we homeschool, it's not watch a video on your iPad and do this. Like, it's actual, like, we have a whole space specifically for homeschool.
Yes.
I'm looking at the bookshelf behind you that has boxes of stuff. Like, there's just so much homeschool stuff, but we don't treat it like our kids are not missing out on education.
No.
Like, there are some people who homeschool and their kids are actually missing out on education. That's not the case here. They're probably getting more than they would get, because it's one-on-one versus what they would get at school.
And people often ask me when I say I homeschool, like, is it online? Do you do it online? And I specifically chose not to do it online just because of the amount of screen time they would get. So the stuff that we use, although we will watch videos or pertaining to, but it's not on computer. They have pen and paper, and that's how they do it. And that's what I wanted. Emmett does watch videos now that he's going to be in 5th grade for his math, because you don't want me trying to teach you math, but they're very short videos. But technology isn't even a huge part of that facet of our lives either.
Yeah, and because of that, Emmett knows all of his times tables.
He's like
it.
I love the curriculum we use. It really, like, nails down, like, you need to know your facts, you need, like, a lot of mental math, even just adding two random, not an even number, just two random numbers together, and he could do it fast.
Playing Monopoly with him. So we are a Monopoly family. We love to play Monopoly when the two big boys are here, and so just about every time that they're here, we play. And we were hesitant to let Emmett play for a long time because it's big math. Like, you have to be able to do math and know your numbers and whatnot. And I remember the first time he played, he was a little slow, but now he can actually do the math faster than Aaron and Aiden can do it for the most part.
Yeah.
And he can give you correct change every time. He never misses a beat.
Yep. Counts his dollars and things. Like, it's that I do really like that part about it. It's because I don't know. Even us, he'll get numbers faster than me sometimes, because you just don't. And when we were in school, you had to learn your math facts enough to pass the test, and then
that was
it. It didn't matter if you remembered them after that.
That was it.
And you didn't have to know that stuff. So I do love that he's very quick with that.
Yeah, and they all have their own things that they're good with. Easton with reading is insanity to me, and Emmett can read really well too. But, like, Easton for his age can read way too good.
Yeah,
like, you can't get anything past that kid. You can't. We've learned we can't write things on the calendar, because if you write it on the calendar and he can read it, it's game over, because he wants to, like, it's a constant nagging. But again, that all comes from really not allowing them to have the same unbridled access to technology that other kids their age have.
Yeah.
We're pretty strict on phones. Like, we're not planning to do any type of phone for them for a long time. Because, again, you have to make sure that they're emotionally mature to handle what comes with a phone.
Yeah.
Like, unbridled access to the internet, holy smokes.
Even phone etiquette.
Right.
Just not calling somebody 20 times in a row.
Yes. We experienced that with one of the neighbor
with
kids.
another kid, and it's just you don't think you have to teach your kid that.
Yeah.
You know, like
You call once.
Yeah,
If they don't answer, you can leave a message,
Yeah.
but you don't keep calling.
Yeah.
And you could send a text even that says, "Hey, I tried to call you and
Yeah.
you didn't answer. If you could call me back, I'd appreciate it," or something of that
Yeah.
nature. Yeah. And Easton will do that.
that's what. Yeah, I was gonna say, and that's why Emmett does have a watch, so he
Yes.
has a Gab watch that he can call and text from, only numbers that we put in. So like random people can't just get his number.
Yeah. This message is brought to you by
Gab.
Gab Watch.
And so, we love it, but he has access to us when he's not with us, and
We can track it,
yes,
which is super
track it,
important.
Yeah, and Easton wants one, and we have two because we upgraded Emmett, but he's that
He'll never
he
stop.
would use his far more than
Yeah.
Emmett does,
Well,
but he
Emmett
would,
texts Mom
he
all
would
at night
just be yeah
to say I love you.
yeah.
He sent me a text earlier that said what the Sigma, just to get on my nerves.
He talked to I think it was your mom the other day. He just calls her, "So how's your morning?"
Yeah.
Just like talked to her for like 15 minutes, just seeing what she was up to. He told me.
Yeah. But Easton would be
He's very I mean, that's just how he is. He's very social.
yeah, and he would be serial calling.
Yes.
And I would never get off the phone with him.
Right.
He would call me
That's
100
why-
times a
yes.
day.
That's why the emotional maturity
Yeah.
is not quite there to, he would just try to call all of his favorite people all day.
Yeah.
All the time.
And he would constantly
Yeah.
want new numbers in his phone.
Yeah.
Can you put Ian's number? Can you put Jack's number?
Yeah.
Can you put I need to talk to
So he has Messenger and
It's bad
he can
enough.
he can talk to all his people there, but he likes chatting.
Yeah. He likes to chit chat. Sissy said to me the other day, she comes into the dining room. I was sitting at the table. I'd gotten home late, so I was eating a little bit later than everybody else. So I was sitting at the table, and she comes in and she goes, "Oh, I didn't get to play my tablet time." And so she's like walking around the table to get her tablet so she can play it. And I said, "Why not?" And she said, "Oh, I had to go check on Mom." And then we started to chit chat. And I was like, first of all, your mom was cleaning your room, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but okay, here we are. And she's like, "I didn't get to play on my tablet because we just started to chit chat." It's like, get out of here. So she picks up her tablet, and it literally had just turned 8 o'clock. So her tablet had shut off. She was like, "Are you kidding me?" So technology, while I think the purpose of me telling we use a lot of technology is to say that just because we do doesn't mean that they have to.
Yeah.
Like they may see us on our phones, and
Yeah.
like my kids watch me on my phone all the time, but that doesn't mean they have to be on
Yeah.
some piece of electronics. Like you said, the creativity that not having it sparks is important. They love to be outside.
They really do.
Yeah, our kids do enjoy being outside.
Yeah.
And Adeline would probably choose outside over tablet if it weren't for YouTube Kids, because she starts watching those.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. She watches videos of kids playing with toys that she owns. Rather than play with the toy that you own, you watch somebody else play with the toy you own. It's never made
Yeah.
sense to me.
And the contortionist girl.
Oh,
watches-
yes.
And then she tries to do the.
Yes. But let's be honest. Do you think she learned how to do a front walkover from anywhere but YouTube Kids? The answer is no. Because nobody that she's
That's
seeing
what-
is teaching her
yes,
that. She's
yeah.
watching them do it and learning how to do it.
Teaching herself.
Same with Easton learning how to read. Taught himself how to read with closed captions on the TV.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't let him turn the TV up in the mornings because it would be too loud and he'd wake everybody up. So he learned how to turn on the closed captionings on Netflix. Taught himself how to read doing that. We're lucky we have really smart kids, but it's also going to be our detriment someday. Actually, it already is with Easton. He's already got our number.
Yeah.
He's got us figured out. Yeah, so I would say, just as a piece of parenting advice, don't let this is a big one. Just because everybody else lets their kids have it doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah.
Like, you can be the difference. You can
Yeah.
be the change that you want to see. You can make your kids better than the rest of the kids. Because I just saw that Akron schools are requiring the students, like all of the Akron schools are requiring the students when they arrive at school to put their phones in a pouch that locks magnetically. Remember we went to that comedy
yeah.
show that they did that in?
That's a good idea.
And so they keep their phone. It's safe with them, but they don't have access to it.
Yeah.
And
I
then
can't
at the end of
imagine
the day,
being a teacher with all of the phone, because even whenever I was in high school, we were starting to get
Yeah.
phones, but I mean, they were like, "We'll take your phone." So everyone kind of, I doubt kids are, keeping their phones away, or we were always supposed to keep it in our lockers. Nobody did, but we weren't on them all the time.
Right.
Now people use them much more than
Yeah.
we did. So
Well, the other thing, so one of the things that they said was that the number of like serious fights has dropped dramatically because it's not mass texting one another.
yeah,
Hey, there's
wanna
a
fight
there's a
via
fight
text.
happening. Yeah, exactly. So they said that the kids they're more social with one another and they have a faster learning curve because they're just in one,
yeah,
like they're
And
focused on
yeah. I
one
was gonna
thing
say,
versus
they can pay attention instead
Yeah.
of
their phone buzzes. Who was that?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I think that's a genius idea. And at some point, if public education is going to exist, they're going to have to do something like that.
Yeah.
Continually, they're going to have to find solutions like that because what always blows my mind is the parents who get mad, like, you can't take my kid's phone. What do you mean? Your kid's being an a-hole. Like, if your kid's not going to pay attention, then why are you even sending them?
Yeah.
Like, keep your bad kids home. That's why we keep Easton at home. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But there was a point where we were like, he is a different kid at home than he is at school. The teachers would rave about him at school, how wonderful and how helpful and how sweet and polite he was. And he'd come home and his head's spinning and he's gnawing on sticks and like he just is insanity. But it's because he felt safe here, first of
Yeah.
all. But the second is like he just knew what he could get away with there and what he couldn't. And he wanted to be well liked by his teachers. And so
It worked out.
he knew how to flip that switch. But we knew that couldn't last forever. Like at some point that oppositional defiance disorder was going to come out and it was going to be rough when it did. So, yeah. Any other technology thoughts, recommendations? Hold off as long as you can on phones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
Even tablets for little kids.
Yeah.
If I could go back, we wouldn't have given ours. They were young when we
But
even got them their tablets.
and I'm not trying to say we didn't know, but we really didn't. Like the research that's been done now that
Yeah.
talks about
Or at least YouTube.
right.
Wouldn't have given them YouTube.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, because that's just like it's just like
It's like having
adults with,
Google.
like a TikTok or something.
Yeah.
You just scroll and scroll and scroll, and there's always something to watch.
Yep.
And then if you don't like it, you just keep going, and
Yeah.
and so yeah, maybe not hold off on tablet, but YouTube for sure. It's just some of those really addictive
Yep.
games or
I was told
videos,
that
whatever.
so Rick Smith Jr. is performing at our theater for the month of August. And if you don't know who he is, he's got popular from Dude Perfect and he throws cards and does magic. And he's a super cool guy, super nice guy, lives in Cleveland. So we know him well in the theater because he's fairly local. So he's there quite a bit. But he makes a YouTube video every day,
Oh man.
a YouTube short every single day. So that means your kid gets a dopamine hit every day if they like Rick Smith Jr. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he does it on purpose. He knows that if he does that, he will continue to keep that following.
Yeah.
Trick shots with basketballs, ping pong balls, you name it, he does it. And it just is what it is. They know how to work it. And
Yeah.
so I would say hold off on phones. I see kids that you can't even talk to in person who are playing on phones and they have their cell phone. Like they're just, let's be honest, some of them are brats. Like you meet kids that are just, they're mouthy and disrespectful to their parents. And it's because they're allowed to have and do whatever they want to do. And then they see it on YouTube and they see it on like, well, for example, Yes Day, the movie Yes Day. I want to sue whoever made that movie. Because that movie made my kids think that we can go through the car wash with the windows down and that it won't rip your skin off. Like it's a movie, right? But kids see that and they see other kids with phones and they see how kids talk to their parents and something and they think they can go and do that. That's not how life works. They're going to grow up and get jobs and find out they can't be that way.
Yeah.
But hold off on technology as long as possible. Show your kids Veggie Tales and what's another? Bluey. I endorse Bluey. Bluey gets 2 thumbs up from me.
Emmett Sissy watched Bluey this morning for her show, and Emmett he was like laughing so hard at this one scene, and he said, "I don't care. Everybody just has to like Bluey."
It's true.
Because he's 10 years old sitting watching Bluey and loving it.
But Bluey it's a different kind of show.
Yeah,
they talk
very
about
cute.
sad episodes. Like there's like they're very relatable. And it's one of those shows that when the kids are watching it, I don't ever question it. So I play Fallout Shelter, and the kids have started playing it on their iPads. And it's a harmless game. Like you build a shelter that you're trying to house people in and whatever. But there was a show on Netflix about Fallout Shelter. And I'm not sure if the show came first and then the game or what happened, but excuse me. I was sitting at the dining room table working on something, and the kids were watching it in the living room, and I look up and there's a half naked man. I mean, like you see his whole back half, and I'm like, let's turn that off. And Easton's like, it's just his butt. And I'm like, right, it's just his butt, but I don't know where we're going with this.
Right
and it's
now,
obviously
yeah.
not for kids.
Yeah.
And so we're even particular about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's just, and we're not trying to shield our kids from every single fart joke, and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but there's some things that just are not age appropriate. So
I think you shield them for until they're old enough. We can't keep everything from them, but when you're 5 and 6, no, we're not going to watch naked grown men butts on
Yes,
TV. You know what I'm
yes.
saying? And eventually, and not just that, but shows that might even be for kids that don't have messages that we want our kids hearing.
yeah,
At some point, maybe we'll allow that, but not when you're young enough to, like when you're old enough to discern right from wrong, or okay, this is okay to watch on TV, but I'm not going to go up to someone and punch him in the face.
yeah.
Or,
Well, let's, for example, before Emmett was born, I played Grand Theft Auto a lot before he was born. Like I love that game. Emmett was born, and you're like, you're not going to do that anymore. You can play that somewhere else,
yeah,
but he's not going to see that.
yeah,
And so, I mean, that was just one of those, it's a change of lifestyle. You have to also decide that I'm not going to watch these shows in front of my kids. There's a lot of stuff that like we'll have on the TV. And it's not necessarily that it's bad. It's not necessarily that it's obscene, but we know that like maybe it's going to have language, or it's going to have whatever, a graphic scene. And we just pause it, or we tell the kids this show isn't for
Yeah.
kids. And
Yeah.
we just, which they get mad about that. Ugh.
Yeah.
As they storm out of
They
the room.
always think like it's a bad word.
Yeah.
Like it's a bad word show.
Yeah.
But and
Yeah.
I just go with it. But sometimes it's just, topics they don't need to hear.
Yes.
Or just scenes that aren't, even if it's just gory or
Yes.
something, like I don't.
Well, because that stuff, like we watched Anaconda, which is not like, if you were a 90s kid and you watched Anaconda, it wasn't scary in the 90s. It's not scary now. It's a dumb movie about giant snakes, poorly made, but we watched it. I watched it with Easton and Emmett and never thought anything of it, because they were both like, oh, this is wild. This is awesome. It's so funny, blah, blah, blah. Sissy could not handle that.
Yeah.
Like that was too much for her.
She's very soft. She can't handle a lot of stuff.
So
Like her heart is
Yes,
just like
yes.
she doesn't like that.
yeah, she doesn't even like it when like we have tickle fights.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what
you can't.
when you guys were having a Nerf gun.
Yes, she was
Everybody
upset.
was
We're laughing and having
yes,
fun.
everybody involved was happy about it. She did she
She had to
on
leave the
multiple
room.
times she kept saying, "Please stop. Let's not do this." And
Yeah.
yeah, she went back to her room. She didn't want to watch it.
Yeah,
It's like nobody was getting hurt, but
it's too much for her.
Yeah.
But we have to make those decisions for them right now. But there's going to come a point when they make them for themselves. But it's just it's weird having to tell parents, or to even have conversation with people who are like, oh, well, we just let our kids have their tablets whenever they want. And let's be honest, it's not just technology. In our house, there are a lot of things that are restricted.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get soda. They don't get, and it's not because we don't want them to experience it, but once they have it, they never stop. We know far too many people whose children's teeth have rotted out of their head because they didn't care about what their kids would eat and drink.
Yeah.
Carrying around a bottle of juice between your teeth for hours on end every single day, you're going to rot out your teeth.
Yeah.
And it's terrible, but it's what happens. And then we're like, oh, no, we don't let our kids do that.
And I've been very on that. Like, even Aaron and Aiden at that age
Nope.
never had. Even juice. Like,
and Gatorade, honestly.
Yes, they had watered down juice
yes,
for
always.
a long time.
Always. Yeah. Aiden's like, why is this juice so strong?
Yeah. When we stopped doing that, it's like, whoa, this has a taste. But when they're a year or two, they don't need all the sugar. They're used to drinking formula or breast milk. Like, it's not like they don't know it all tastes good like adults do.
Right.
But adults tend to think like they want something more than this. No, for the first year of their life, all they had
they don't
was
know.
one thing to drink.
They don't know. They have no idea. Yeah. What I used to eat something, but I was just told him it was medicine. I don't remember what it was, but and Easton would be like, "That's Dad's medicine." No, it wasn't. It was a snack. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, I get really good at that. You learn after a while though that it doesn't work anymore. They figured it out.
Yeah.
Like
they start to read.
Yeah. That's
Swiss cake roll.
Yeah, that says Swiss cake rolls on it, Dad. I don't think that's medicine. I saw those in the snack aisle at the grocery store. Much too good for children. Oh, jeez. Hold off as long as you can on technology. Limit what they can and can't watch. And obviously, we can't tell you what to do.
Screen.
We just want to give you advice.
Yeah. Screen what they have access to.
Yeah.
Be willing to say no.
And don't be afraid to check their stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if your kid has a phone and they're texting, they have Snapchat, would have to please don't give them Snapchat. But if you give them those things, at least be brave enough to say, I want your phone and I'm going to check it.
Yeah.
And don't give them a heads up so they can delete everything that they've done, because there are apps out there like Bark. You can give your kid unbridled access to cell phone, but you download and install an app. It's again, this one's called Bark, and it alerts you if they send a text that sounds like they may be anticipating self-harm. It sends a text if they are saying something mean or hateful to somebody. And it's a smart app, so you can't. If they say swear words, it will alert you, but they can't do like $$S or $$ or $$
Yeah.
Like they know, it knows to pick that stuff up as potential swear words. And then it alerts the parent that there's something nefarious happening on the phone, and then you have the opportunity to check. Problem is not a lot of parents are willing to do that.
Yeah.
Put Life 360 on your kid's phone. Seriously. Your kid's going to lie to you about where they are? They ain't going to do that if you got Life 360 on their phone. Unless they plan to leave their phone, which we all know they're not going to.
Yeah.
It's not the kid's responsibility. It's not even a teenager's responsibility to manage their screen time or their phone time. It is a parent's responsibility to manage those things. Oh, it's 10 o'clock.
It's 10 o'clock.
We're sitting in a dark room now. It's exactly 10 o'clock. That's so funny. So
his automated lights shut off.
Automated lights just shut off. Now we're sitting
very dark basement.
What's even worse though is I think I'm signed into the Casa app at work, so I can't even turn our lights on. I'm gonna sit here in the dark. Let's see here. Oh geez.
It took me a second. I was like, "Oh, did the power just go out?"
No, I knew exactly what happened as soon as it happened.
It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, as soon as it happened. I don't know our password. It's so dark.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, that's not the right password. All right. Well, I guess that's the end of this episode because I can't even see to turn the recorder off. Flashlight. All right. I guess that'll be it for tonight. Until we meet again.